ESPN Zone, Chad Ford. We appreciate you hanging out, Chad. Ben Lyons, Andy Kamenetsky filling in. So can I connect the dots with Lakers get a top 3 pick and they're going to get Lonzo Ball?
Well, no, for a couple of reasons. Lonzo, it depends on what pick they get. If they get the number 1 pick, then they have the chance of getting Lonzo Ball. If they get 2 or 3, he could go ahead of them. And it's not a foregone conclusion that they draft Lonzo. I would say early in the year, the Lakers were among his biggest fans. And that seemed to be a slam dunk if they got the top pick in the draft. You've had a change of management. Rob Pelinka's in there now. Magic Johnson's in there now. They still like Lonzo. But I think that they're taking a much more measured approach. And in part, there's a lot that goes into scouting players. And it's not just what they're doing on the basketball court. It's what they're doing off the court, what sort of personality they have. There's all these factors that are playing into this right now. And I think the Lakers have taken a step back now, and they're weighing their options. Now, look, this is all moot. They have a 47% chance of getting one of those 3 picks, which means that the most likely outcome is that they don't get one of those 3 picks. And then, of course, they lose that to Philadelphia, and they lose their 2019 first-round pick to Orlando. The stakes couldn't be higher.
Chad, I don't think, or at least, and it's my understanding, you can obviously feel free to let me know if you think I'm wrong, that any team would pass on Lonzo Ball because of all the LeVar Ball that comes with LeVar Ball. But how much of a factor is he, do you think, when teams just decide, okay, we're going to go into the Lonzo Ball business?
Well, look, I've been arguing all year, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's about the kid. It's not about his dad. And all the reports that I've heard out of UCLA is that Lonzo's not like his dad. In a number of different ways, he's not like his father. However, when I was at the draft combine in Chicago and I was talking to a lot of NBA execs and scouts, I was surprised at how much all of this circus that his father's created has affected them. And it's not so much that it's changed their opinion of him as a player, but when you're drafting the number 1 pick, you're drafting a franchise cornerstone. You're drafting a guy that you're going to market around, that you're going to build a team around. And especially in this draft, when there's other prospects like Markelle Fultz in this draft, those factors start to play in to everything else that you're thinking about. It doesn't mean that Lonzo Ball is going to slip out of the top 5 or top 10 because of his dad. That won't happen. But that he might lose a battle with a great player like Markelle Fultz because they just look at Fultz and say he is so much less maintenance. He's less likely to rub teammates the wrong way because of the stuff that's going on. He'll be easier to market. Those are factors that come in when they're very close. And I'll tell you, it's about 50-50 in the league, just on basketball terms, of who they think the better prospect is, Fultz or Ball. And so little things like that can tip the scales one way or the other.
Chad Ford joins the show. Ben Lyons, Andy Kamenetsky filling in for Thompson and Trudell. Just getting word that Rob Pelinka is going to be on Mason and Ireland at noon. So what is the plan for Rob Pelinka and the guys over at the Lakers should they not get the pick, Chad? And is there any other possible way you see them potentially, securing a top draft pick, even if they don't get the ping pong ball today?
I don't think they have the assets right now. I mean, Brandon Ingram, D'Angelo Russell, Julius Randle, those are nice prospects. But if any of those 3 guys were in this year's draft, they probably don't go in the top 8, 9, 10. And so a team that would be willing to give up one of those picks for those guys right now, I don't really see it happening. I think the Lakers' plan is a different plan. They're the Lakers. They're going to have cap room. It is a very desirable, maybe the most desirable free agent landing spot. We already know that Paul George is eyeing an exit out of Indiana and would like to play for the Lakers. This is not going to be the end of the world for the Lakers if they don't get the number 1 pick, because they're going to be such a desirable free agent market that they're likely to land a star or 2. But it certainly helps, one, because those rookies don't take up much cap space at all, and you get big bang for your buck. And two, the Lakers become even more attractive if a Markelle Fultz or Alonzo Ball is on that team to prospective free agents.
Chad,
So
I want to follow up quickly with something. I want to follow up quickly with
something.
I want to follow up quickly with something you just said there. In that Brandon Ingram, D'Angelo Russell would be a junior this year coming out of the draft. Brandon Ingram would be a sophomore. You would have them on your big board below guys like Zach Collins from Gonzaga and Dennis Smith from North Carolina State.
For Dennis Smith, for sure. I don't know about Zach Collins. I would put them sort of right there. Markkanen, Zach Collins is probably where I would put the Brandon Ingrams, Julius Randles, D'Angelo Russells of the world. This is the highest-rated freshman class that we've seen in over a decade come out. This is the most excited that I have seen NBA general managers and scouts about the first 8-9 picks in this draft that I've seen in a long time. Most of these guys, even Dennis Smith, even Jonathan Isaac out of Florida State, Jason Tatum, Josh Jackson, De'Aaron Fox, in a normal draft, these guys are all top 2-3 picks in the draft.
The Lakers do have the 28th pick in this draft. Chad, who are some of the names that you think fans should be keeping an eye on that you think could be a good fit for the Lakers later on?
Well, it's interesting because as great as this draft is at the top, the quality of it degrades pretty strongly after about pick 12, 13, 14. It becomes a very normal, mediocre draft after that. It's top-heavy. It's not particularly deep. When you're getting to 28, I'm not sure that they'll get as good a pick as they got last year because they had such a strong international class last year that really helped sort of float the second half of the first round. There's a couple of guys that I think are interesting if the Lakers are really going to try to swing for the fences here, and they may absolutely try to do that if they don't get one of those top 3 picks. One guy that I think is so intriguing is Hamidou Diallo, who actually was a high school player. He reclassified. He went to Kentucky in January. He redshirted. He practiced with the team. He didn't play with the team. This kid recorded the second highest vertical jump of anybody in draft combine history on Chicago. His athletic measurements are off the chart. He's one of the best athletes we've ever seen come out. And he would probably be in next year's draft a top 10 pick. But if he comes out now, teams haven't really seen him play against even college competition. He needs to work on his jump shot. There's still some things that are raw about his game. If he stays in the draft, he's going to be hovering right there on that first round bubble and might be the sort of player that the Lakers can say, okay, look, we didn't get a top 3 pick this year, but this kid, had he gone back to Kentucky, might have been a top 10 pick next year. Let's go ahead and swing for the fences. Let's have him play in the D League. We'll bring him along. But we'll still get our prospect, and then we'll focus on improving the team via free agency.
Chad Ford joining the show. Ben Lyons, Andy Kamenetsky. Mike Trudell saying there's not going to be gloom and doom if the Lakers, don't get this pick. They've got these 6 young assets of the guys that the Lakers do have. Which one are you most excited about for someone who evaluates young talent? Because you do it at such a high level, and we're kind of looking at these guys as what might they be. So who's the one guy for the Lakers you're saying, you know what, I am not going to trade him no matter what?
I don't. First of all, I don't think the Lakers have a player like that. I think all of those players, they don't have a cornerstone. D'Angelo Russell, Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, none of those guys are cornerstone guys that you don't trade no matter what. And I think that, even thoughts of maybe balking on Brandon Ingram for DeMarcus Cousins might have been a calculated mistake. Cousins brings so much baggage to the table that you can make the argument the other way. But I would say as far as how they were ranked coming into the draft, Brandon Ingram was my favorite of those 3 prospects. It did concern me that he struggled the way he struggled this year. When you look at it from an analytics standpoint, he had one of the worst rookie seasons ever in the history of the NBA. And the signs don't necessarily point in a good direction, but I look at him and say he's going to get stronger. He's going to get more confident. I thought he was playing much better in the second half of the season. And the way the league is going, these guys that can guard multiple positions on the floor and have length and can stretch the floor offensively and can do multiple things, I still think that Ingram is their best asset going forward. He's just got a ways to get there right now, but I still love the talent. I was a little discouraged about how he played this year, but he was young. He needs to get stronger. I'd say in 2 or 3 years, Brandon Ingram could be a real player for them.
ESPN insider Chad Ford joining the show. We appreciate it, Chad.
All right, take care, guys.
Chad Ford hanging out. Ben Lyons, Andy Kamenetsky.